The following program contains names, places, and events that have been anonymized or fictionalized for the purposes of protection and safety. The following program is provided for entertainment purposes only, and any commentary from the hosts are strictly conjecture and should not be held as making any definitive statements about the truth or identity of any particular individuals or circumstances. If you or a loved one are involved in an abusive relationship, please call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233 for support.
Let's go.
Hello.
Happy Monday.
Let's go, girls. Dun, 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 dun.
I'm so glad that we do our episodes on Mondays because how long are Mondays? But we can help make it a little bit shorter.
Mondays, am I right? Yeah, I am. Sorry, there was like issues with the podcast stream thing last week and it came up a little late and we were sad, but also really grateful that so many of you freaked out.
Well, I was like, wow, so many people, they're like, excuse me, where's the episode? And I was like, wow, first of all, thank you. I love you.
People were like, are you girls okay? Like, I think they thought we died.
No, like, but that touched my heart. Like people were like, I need my Monday morning episode. Where is it? Like a bunch of crack fiends. And it was amazing. Thank you guys for caring so much. We just absolutely love you.
Just technology. Technology dying. But we got there.
Technology. But today we have a fun episode. We're going to do a Mackenzie Undercover today. So we're going to give you another one of my fun PI stories.
I can't wait. I'm very excited. And if it's anything like your glasses, it's going to be fabulous.
You guys, I found these so super cute glasses and I got those like really like cute, ugly, funky, like, but really cute, like not cute glasses. And they're just
like, you look like a cool art teacher.
Yeah.
So, like the one that's like really cool.
Miss Frizzle from
Miss Frizzle!
Yeah, Miss Frizzle from the Magic School Bus.
What an absolute
She's definitely
legend.
Iconic. So anyways, if you have been on the Patreon recently, if you're on the Patreon, first of all, thank you. If you're not on the Patreon, you guys, it's only $5 a month. You have to subscribe to the Patreon because some of these stories that we hear on the Patreon are just they're insane. You have to sign up for the Patreon.
And there are a lot of stories that we maybe can't get the guest to come on, or they're not long enough necessarily to dig our teeth into. But oh my gosh, what a transition. But there was a short one about a vampire that someone dated.
Speaking of digging your teeth.
It's like we just try to get to as many as we can. And Patreon is a great way for us to still address stories that we can't do full episodes on. So send us your stories. investigate@thedataDetectivespodcast.com is our email.
I'm so glad that you know it because y'all know I don't.
Threw it out at the beginning this time. Usually we wait till the outro.
But no, we really appreciate everybody who's on the Patreon and we really appreciate your support. And when you guys also, when you share our stuff on your social media, we like get a little tickled because we are so excited. We just appreciate it so much. Like it's so cool that you guys we're friends, right? Like we are besties. So if you've listened to one episode, we're best friends.
Also on the Patreon, I like vented about somebody that I know we're not supposed to diagnose people, but I think they're a narcissist. And everyone responded.
They're a narcissist is not diagnosing. That's just my opinion. So it's fine.
I know I'm not a doctor, but I've seen a couple things.
So don't take a rocket surgeon.
Don't take a rocket surgeon. Anyway, I just wanted to shout out the Patreoners who responded because I truly, not that I didn't already feel connected to all of the sleuthies beforehand, but it was a moment where I genuinely am starting to be like, oh, I not only trust the people that listen to our podcast, but I like want everyone's advice on my personal stuff. Like I feel so connected to everyone because we share the same values.
Everybody was so supportive. I love it.
And it wasn't like a crazy, there's obviously extreme cases on our podcast, but we're all going through little things on a day-to-day basis that it's just nice to have the support of people who get it. You guys all have good femtuition.
This is our very own Hannah. And like you guys supporting her just means the world. So thank you guys so much for showing so much love. And
also some of you didn't know I had a boyfriend because I posted for his birthday and y'all were like, who's this?
Who's
so
this
surprised.
Fella? He's cute too. And those are cute. It was such a cute picture of you guys.
Happy birthday, John.
Happy birthday, Josh.
Don't. Yeah, Mackenzie's like, Jake, Josh, Jeff.
I don't know the email address. I don't know Hannah's boyfriend's name.
It's
I'm
a
really
J
sorry,
name.
John.
When in doubt, guess a J name.
At this point, it's just silly now.
But it's not Justin. We know Justin is your J name.
Justin is my J name. We both are dating J names, but J names are usually a red flag, which is hilarious.
I know.
Whatever.
Hey, keep
They're good
watching,
guys.
keep listening to our podcast to find out if they prove the J name thing right or wrong.
Exactly. No, I have full faith in them. Are you ready to jump into the Mackenzie Undercover story today?
I have never been more ready. Let's do it. Truly, I missed Mackenzie Undercover. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it really has. Okay, let's get into it. Now does it play the music? No, right? So, listen, you guys know these stories often start with...
Say it with us.
The husband says, I think my wife is cheating while he's going away for weekend business trips, right? Which weekend business trips? I don't know. Usually business trips are during the week, but whatever. That's neither here nor there. Like, whatever. He's a professional. That's all I'm going to say. So he's a professional fella. Okay. He goes on these business trips over the weekend. It's usually Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, which I thought that was a red flag because business is not conducted on the weekends, but it's whatever. Not my business. Like, whatever. I did some research into him and couldn't find any red flags, so it's fine. Not my circus, not my monkeys. That's not what I'm getting paid to do. So this guy tells me that he suspects that his wife is going to nightclubs with her girlfriends while he's away on these business trips, right? But he thinks that while she's going out with her girlfriends, sometimes they'll get drunk or they'll drink a lot. And so they'll just stay in a hotel nearby instead of like driving all the way home because they kind of live in an area that's a little bit more rural. And so it doesn't make sense to go all the way. So they just, get a hotel, it's nearby, and they just stay there the night or whatever.
Perfect scene for a little cheating crime.
Right? That's what I was thinking. But what you never know. So he thinks that she's hooking up with different dudes because number one, he doesn't trust the girlfriends and there's not good news, whatever. He also said that she's acting a little weird. She's not really connecting with him intimately that much. And she's kind of acting not mad at him, but he said that she's just acting a little distant, right? So he's like, I wonder if she's got like a boyfriend or maybe she's just like finding her pleasure elsewhere, right?
Can I ask a quick question?
Totally.
Is his first instinct to go to a PI or did he like talk to her about it? Try couples therapy? Like take any of those steps? Or was he like, let me have her follow?
So that's a really good question. So he actually said that he did talk to her about it. And she was like, no, I'm fine. Everything's fine. It's fine. This is fine. Everything's fine. So he's not getting clear answers from her. That's a really good question. Thank you.
Just want to make sure. Because if someone's first instinct is like, follow my wife, I'm like,
it's weird,
whoa.
Right? Yeah, like that. It is a little bit of a far stretch. And these are details that like I sometimes don't think about. So yes, no, really good question. So there's a few times also he said that like her panties were in her purse and she says, yeah. And so he's like, that's like the walk of shame, like purse in the panties situation, right? You've been in college. And so, and she says, oh, they just got uncomfortable or whatever. Or, I didn't bring a change of clothes with me. So I just threw clothes on and came home, whatever. And I think that he wasn't supposed to really see it, but he did. Anywho, that's all he knows. He doesn't know anything else. All of these things together, he's like, something's up. So of course he hires a PI. Smart move, right? And he's a professional guy. He's pretty well off. He makes good money. He can afford it. So I start surveillance on a Friday when he leaves to go out of town. I want to see what she's doing during her day, and then how she spends the weekend. So this is, like I said, a Friday through Monday situation. So Friday after.
Oh, I like this case because you get to go out. You get to go out with the girls.
Right? Well,
I love cases when we find you in a club, a strip club.
Well, hold on. Slow down, Turbo. Hold on.
Okay.
Let's see. Wait until you hear this one. So It's Friday afternoon, right? The first day I'm doing surveillance on her. And she goes to a nail salon, right? And I'm thinking, oh, good, nail salon. And by the way, to the professor who said, you're a girl, you'll never make it as a PI, whatever. This is the exact reason why we need girl PIs is because a dude can't go into dudes can go into nail salons.
They can, but you're going to notice them.
My husband goes and gets pedicures, but it's always like 20 other women and like my husband and like people look at him. So
you would notice, especially if he was like checking out, like focused on another girl. That's creepy.
Thank you. Exactly. So she goes into a nail salon and typically on a case like this, I'm not going to follow someone into a nail salon because I don't need to know, like, she's going to a nail salon. It's not a nightclub, like the husband said. So specific to the case, it wouldn't make sense for me to go into the nail salon unless it's like a a workers' comp case or something where like I need to see what their injuries are or whatever. But because a nail salon is like kind of a gossip hub a little bit.
Yes, I was just thinking that.
So of course I'm like, yeah, like I want to go in and hear like what's going on. So I go in because I can fit in and I want to hear like what's going on. And I cannot record audio, but that doesn't mean I can't still obtain information, right? So nail salons are where people spill the beans. Like it's just like your hairstylist, like you spill all the goss to her, right? So I'm in this nail salon. She's in a pedicure chair by the time I go inside. And you know how like when you go into a nail salon, they tell you, oh, go to this chair, go to that chair. I didn't. I just sat down. I sat my ass down right next to her because I was like, oh, hey, I'm just going to sit down right here. So I did. So I sit down in the chair and I am just like ready to get some information. And the nail tech ladies were like, okay, you're doing this. You're just kind of sitting down.
What are they going to do? Make you move?
Yeah. Right, exactly. And so like the customer, they're going to go to the customer. They're not going to lose money and risk you leaving. And so sometimes you just have to like own the space. And if you just have to assume the position and not wait for someone to tell you what to do. You just have to do what you have to do to get the information. So that's what I did. And it worked out. It usually does. So I'm starting a conversation with my pedicure lady because it's kind of quiet. No one's really talking. And so I ask her, I say, oh, what are you doing this weekend? You know, just kind of, and you can tell that I'm clearly just trying to start conversation to kind of break the ice or whatever. But I make sure that I say it in a way that's kind of loud. And my personality anyways is very inclusive. And so when I walk into a room, I never meet a stranger. I'll talk to anybody. Right. And so I don't mind kind of talking to her, looking over at the girl next to me and be like, oh, you know, what are you doing for the weekend or whatever?
Yeah, totally.
And yeah, I'm bubbly. And I wanted to drum up conversation, get everyone talking. And I said, I'm kind of new to the area. I'm recently single. And so I started asking about the nightclubs in the area. Where should I go to meet people? Exactly. Like, where's a cool place to party and hang out and whatever. And so I'm talking to the nail tech or whatever. And she's like, oh, I don't go out very much. Like I have small kids. And so she's kind of quiet about it, hush, hush. Like she doesn't have much to say. But I am, like I said, making an effort to include all the ladies in the salon in the conversation. Kind of like Steel Magnolias in the hair salon. You know what I mean? Like it's girl talk. Sure.
Yeah. Absolutely. You're like, I wish there was someone around here who goes out on the weekends that might know.
Exactly.
What I could do.
That's what I wanted to do. So finally, after kind of like talking and, you know, kind of chit chat a little bit here and there, homegirl chimes in and she shocks me. Like I do a double take at her when she starts talking, because when she starts talking, she sounds like freaking Jessica Rabbit, like that very sultry voice or whatever. And I'm like, holy shit. Okay.
Wait, can you do it? What does she say?
Okay. So she says, you know, if you're looking for a really great nightclub, you should try this one. Like that,
Paris Hilton.
Okay, thank you. She gives me the name of a nightclub that I've never heard of. Now, I'm from this area, but I don't get around to this particular area of town very much. So I just chalked it up to I've just never heard of it. Like I'm just not from this particular area, whatever. It makes sense. I don't think anything of it. Well, then she hands me a business card with this name of the club on it. And, you know, she's talking to me and she goes, here you go. And she's got these long, beautiful fingernails and she hands me this card and like all sexily. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like,
are you hitting on me? Oh
thank you so much. And I'm like, oh, are you a bartender there or whatever? Like trying to ask her questions to like get her talking about this club. So I'm like, are you a bartender there? And she goes, oh, no, I bring my dates here. And I'm like, I'm sorry.
Spill the beans.
What?
Wait.
Like
that was too easy.
The math wasn't mathing for a second. And I'm like, okay, like, I'm sorry. What? Like, what? And so then after a minute, like I had this light bulb, like eureka moment. And I'm like looking and I was like, oh, okay. She's an escort. Okay. Like she's the voice, the sexy, the business card, the nails, and like long nails does not a prostitute make, right? It doesn't equate. But whenever all these things together and the nightclubs and then the husband talking about the guys and the panties and all these things. And I was like, oh, okay. So she's an escort. So
the business card she gave you was for the club. It wasn't like her business card. Right?
It was for the club. But The club. So she's not going to nightclubs and banging dudes with her girlfriends. She's taking the dudes on dates to the nightclubs, and then her girlfriends are the escorts. Like she's like her other.
She's like a pimp.
No, the other, like her friends were other escorts, and so her and other escorts are bringing the dudes to the nightclubs as dates. And then banging them later. I'm assuming. I don't know that to be a
speculative.
Fact.
Sure, but it doesn't take a rocket surgeon.
It doesn't take a rocket surgeon. Okay, so my husband, whenever we were talking about the podcast and different ads, he's like, can you please get Factor? Because I really want to try them so bad. And we tried Factor, which is like the pre-prepared meals. He freaking loves them. And my husband loves to eat. We call him Lunchbox, and these are the perfect size for him. So Factor is like, it's, you know, those like frozen meals that you get at the grocery store and they're like in the freezer, and then you pop a hole and put them
stock up in my freezer because I buy so many and forget that I already have them, and then I don't eat them because they're not that good.
Yeah, so this is so much better than that. So this is actual fresh meals, and they don't go in your freezer. They go in your refrigerator, and they have so many different options like Calorie Smart and protein and keto. They are never frozen, dietitian approved, ready to eat, 2 minutes in the microwave, no matter how busy you are. And I love them, and my husband loves them. You like them too, right?
Oh, I love them. And they have so many different. They have 35 different meals and more than 60 add-ons that you can choose from every week. And they update all the time. And it's like, it feels like you have a personal chef kind of, that you just pop it in the microwave and heat up those like top tier leftovers, but even better than leftovers. Although leftovers are like my favorite thing. It's got the
same leftovers.
What? Oh, well, it depends.
I hate leftovers.
Okay. Well, if you don't like leftovers, then that's not what it's like. But if you do, then it feels like the best of the leftover, where you're like, oh my God, I just have to heat this up, and then I get my comfort like meal, and it fills me up, and it's the just right amount of food, and it's healthy. If you want, you can also obviously get anything. They've got some fun stuff too. And I feel like anyone that's ever like in a healthy way tried to focus on eating a certain way or eating better, it's really hard to like organize and track that and meal prep and know what you're actually putting in your body. And this makes that so easy because you know the portions, you know what you're eating, you can customize it. It's just like a shortcut to health. And it tastes really good. You don't have to eat cardboard.
It really is so good. Like, it really is flavorful. Head to factormeals.com/TDD50 and use code TDD50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code TDD50 at factormeals.com/TDD50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. You guys, BetterHelp has been such a game changer for my mental health. So you guys know I've been sharing a little bit more about how a little bit of my OCD and my ADHD, which I've been so embarrassed about for so long. But now that I'm actually talking about it more, it's been really therapeutic for me on its own. But so many of you can relate. And what that means is basically I'm in my head all the time. I'm constantly thinking about comparing myself to others, and am I good enough, and am I doing this, and this whole social media thing. So now I'm on social media, and what do you do when you get caught up wishing your life looked like someone else's? You guys, we are all the exact same. No one is better than the other, but somehow we all get roped into this. Comparison is a thief of joy, and it's so easy to envy other people and their lives. They look like they have it all together, but reality, they don't. We're all just the same. Therapy can help you focus on what you want instead of what others have, so you can start living your best life. And so those crazy ADHD thoughts, if you're anything like me, those can really get out of control. But I have really benefited from using BetterHelp because it just gives me the tools and resources to really focus more inward on how I can better myself and my thoughts. And it's great to learn the positive coping skills when it comes to that overthinking brain, setting boundaries, all the things, empowering you to be the best version of you instead of trying to be someone else. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, suited to your schedule. It's all online. Speaking of being online and comparing ourselves to other people, if you're online anyways, try BetterHelp. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give it a try. You just fill out a brief questionnaire, you get matched with a licensed therapist, and if you want to switch therapists anytime, you can do it for no additional charge. Stop comparing and start focusing with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/TDD today and get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/TDD. So then Jessica Rabbit says to me, the gentlemen are really friendly and the money is really good. I'm not even paying for this pedicure. Oh, like,
oh my God.
And I'm like, okay. So the way that she's talking to me and she's kind of nodding her head, like looking at me kind of like, yeah, this is a great, like this, I'm not even paying for this pedicure. You could get free pedicures. She's recruiting me for a sex worker escort prostitution position, like a job. Okay. She is offering me a job 100%. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And so I'm like, oh. And I let her know that I knew, and she let me know that she knew that I knew that she knew. And then I let her know that I knew that she knew that she knew. So I'm like, oh, thank you. But no, thanks. I could never. Like, you're so beautiful. Like, this is all you, girl. Right. So anyways, I'm just like, I don't know if you could tell I was uncomfortable because I don't embarrass easily. I just don't. And so I'm just like thinking, I'm like processing in my head, right?
Right. You're like, this isn't just your classic cheating situation. This is a full on-side hustle. This is a career situation that we've got going on the weekends.
So this other lady that's in the salon, another patron, right? She's getting her nails done. So she's not in the pedicure chair. She's in like one of the tables, just getting her nails done. But she's looking back, kind of like everyone kind of nodding. And, you can see she's acting part of the conversation. So she seems to know Jessica Rabbit. I don't know if they kind of know each other from the salon, it seems. I don't think they were friends or anything. I just think that they were familiar with each other because they go to the same salon. They have their
standing appointments.
Yeah, that's what it seems like to me. And the nail techs were just kind of, their eyebrows were raised, but they're looking down like, I want no fucking part of this conversation. But you could tell they were listening, right? And they were like looking at each other, like sneering. Anyways, so the other lady I think she realized what was happening and she totally shifts the conversation. Like she starts kind of talking about, oh, there's this other really cool bar. And if you're into sports bars, you can try this one. And so you're
like, girl, nah.
Yeah. Like she is pulling the conversation in a whole different direction, like kind of like taking it from rated X to rated PG. Okay. Which I wasn't mad about, but I was, because you could tell I was clearly uncomfortable, but now I know what Jessica Rabbit is doing and like where and how and what's going on.
Oh, you got everything.
Yeah.
And also just the fact that they don't want to talk about it further kind of makes that's information in itself too. Where it's
like, you guys, sometimes no information is a lot of information. No answer is sometimes a really big answer. So anywho, so now I know what she's doing, right? Now, let me just explain to you a little bit about my relationship with my clients. So whenever I get a private client, which this is an individual who says, hey, I want you to do surveillance on this person, I research the dog crap out of them. I want to know everything about them, what they have going on. Like, I want to know everything about them just so I know that when I do surveillance, it is like, I don't want to be held liable for anything that might come after that. Okay. So I make sure to research them. Like, what are you going to do with this information? Like all this stuff. Right.
Also, sometimes people have lied to you.
Yeah. Like the client will lie to me and then it puts me in a position, right? Like I don't want to be in no sticky position. So typically when someone hires me to do a job, I don't want to share with them mid-case what's going on because number one, I've already budgeted to work that amount of hours for that case. I've already scheduled it. I've already turned down other cases. So number one, it's my job and I need to make that money. Like that's my income. Number one. Number two, I don't want a conversation with my client to shift the whole like trajectory of my case. I don't want to be biased based on what they're telling me. I just want to get the information based on the
observations,
information that they've already given me. Yeah. Based on my observations alone and based on what they've already told me. I don't want to tell them what's going on and then they shift the narrative and it's a whole big thing. So typically I don't share with them mid-case what's going on.
Also, he could just then go yell at her and
yeah. And then,
get mad.
yes. And I never want to put the subject, although they are the subject of they are not my client, but I'm not obligated to them. However, for safety reasons, for liability reasons, for legal reasons, I do not want to interfere with my own case. So I do not want to talk to them usually. But this guy, he was a professional. I had already vetted him. There were no red flags when I spoke to him. Everything was on the up and up. Like, I felt really comfortable really telling him what was going on as it was going on. So when he called me that evening, even though I typically don't share information I obtain until the very end of my case, I have gotten to know him. He's kind, he's professional, he's someone that I know without a doubt I can talk to without him losing his ever-loving mind.
Interesting. Okay.
I used my discretion to tell him the information, right? So I decide I'm going to share with him what I found out. So I tell him all the details about the nail salon and about what she said. Although I have not obtained any information to prove that what she said is accurate, besides the fact that I have this business card. And by this time, she's gone back home. She's at home, like she goes and gets her toes and nails done, and then that's it for all day. That's all she does all day until that evening. So
you're talking to him on the phone, and he's on his trip.
Yeah, he's gone. Like he's out of town. That he says he's out of town. So I'm like, all right, fine. Well, when I share the information with him about what I found, and I tell him about the business card, I tell him about the conversation, he's crying. Like, he is so sad. Like, he is like, I knew that something was wrong. I just didn't know how wrong it was. Like, I didn't understand. I didn't understand that this could go as far as her, like,
I mean, that sounds
escort.
Like major blindsiding, and I cannot imagine thinking someone well enough to marry them and then find that out. And also, it's dangerous.
Yeah,
cheating is dangerous.
Dangerous, right? Like, you got to think of all the dangers. Like, number one, the people that, like, not to say that if you hire an escort, you're a bad person, but you never know. Like,
well, it's also just like she's having sex with people and not telling her primary sexual partner,
which is STDs, and it's
STD city.
Yeah, it's dangerous. You make yourself very vulnerable to predicaments that you might not be vulnerable to if you weren't involved in this type of sex work or whatever. So, although I'm not saying if anything happens, it's your fault. Like, I would never say that. No,
not at all.
But
it's
I
just
am saying
unfortunately vulnerable position.
It is. Yes, it is unfortunately.
And she's a dogfish.
Yeah, exactly. So now, to give you a little background on this couple, they've been together for 11 years at this point. Okay, so they've been married. They've decidedly together not had any kids. According to him, he said that she didn't want kids, and he was like, all right, then we don't have to have kids. And she wanted to be just a stay-at-home wife, like a trophy wife. And he's much older than her. She wanted to be a trophy wife, and that's the position that he was willing to take. Like, he was going to make all the money and take care of her and let her go shopping and all the things. And that's the life that they decided together they would have. So, like, trophy wife or not, whether or not she used him for his money or whatever, like, this is what they decided to do. So it's fine, right?
Yeah, they didn't talk about the side gig in the agreement.
Yeah, they never agreed upon her being an escort. But anyways, he said that their sex life has been really good. Like, they've always connected really well intimately and sexually, and they go on trips together and everything is fine, right? So although he was really sad, he didn't seem like super surprised. And so he was really confused because he is well off financially. And although they didn't
she doesn't need the money. I was thinking that too. I was like, what's the why here?
Yeah.
Why is she doing this?
Well, that's the problem, is that there is no why. There is no answer as to why. So he has me continue on surveillance that night. She does go to a nightclub. So she leaves her house and she meets up with another woman. They're dressed like they're going to a nightclub. The tight bodycon dress, the high heels, the cute little clutch purse and the makeup and the hair. Yes, they are ready, right? And they go to a hotel and they meet up with these two gentlemen and they meet in the lobby, and together they take a limo to this nightclub, the one for which she had given me the business card. And I do go into the nightclub and they're dancing, they're having drinks, like standard, like nightclub.
She doesn't notice you at all?
No, not at all. Well, first of all, it was dark. Second of all, by this time I had changed. Like I'm
But also, even if she did see you, you could be like, yeah, you told me to come here.
Yeah,
I wanted to go out.
Yeah. That's a whole nother story where people have recognized me and I've been like, oh yeah, well, you're
what
totally
a crazy
coincidence. You silly. Like we're totally following each other.
Are you stalking me? I feel like I've said that before.
Yes, exactly.
You actually are. No, you're legally.
It's never stalking.
It's not stalking. Not stalking. No.
No, it's never stalking. But if someone tells me nightclub, I'm prepared. So I was prepared. I was dressed for the nightclub. I was ready for the nightclub. Like I had changed how I look. Like, you know, your hair's down, you put it up. You're wearing a short sleeve, you wear a long sleeve, like whatever. So, and I was not noticeable with all those people in the nightclub and it's dark and the lights and the smoke and, you know, all the things.
I have a quick story for you.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to read. Okay.
Oh.
Miss Gibson, turn around. It was a command, not a request. Okay. Shivering, I turned around to face him, and my mouth went dry. Theodore stood in the kitchen doorway, shirtless. I gulped, trying to form words. There he was, right in front of me, so much closer than the last time. Just so you know, I'm living my dream right now, getting to read something sexy.
You sound great. They need to hire you.
This is my audition. Okay, wait, there's more. He had no interest in the likes of me. I was sure of it. And yet, as my traitorous gaze fell all the way down to the distinct bulge in his pants, I'm done.
No,
that's it.
Listen, this is like an evil cliffhanger. Oh my God. That's so sexy. Okay.
You'll just have to go to Galatea. And the writers and readers there are going to be a little better than me. By that, I mean a lot better than me. Although I don't know.
You did really good.
My sexy voice. Galatea app is our new obsession. And it's an app that, like, if you like smut or romance books, it's an app of audiobooks and actual books, both. That's all of that. All romance. That was from When the Night Falls, which is like all over TikTok and just new and hot. And you've got to go read it because, I mean, come on.
Yeah, because no spoilers. Don't give any spoilers if you know.
Oh, all right. Well, I gave you a little bit. And spoiler alert, he's wearing sweatpants. Do you need anything else?
I am certain they are gray.
So you should go listen and let us know which Galatea stories are your favorite. If you have any that you think I should do an expert from, maybe to tease in a future ad, let me know. I would love your recs. So you should start reading this spicy book and find out everything I could not say on air, or listen if that's your thing. I'm an audiobook girly. And you can go to galatea.com/TDD. Galatea is spelled Galatea. It's like if you're going to a gala and you want some tea, you're spilling the tea, Galatea. And you can go there and start When the Night Falls now, and you don't even have to download the app, but like you probably will. Let us know if you do. This is perfect timing for an ad break because I literally have a load of laundry in right now with the Earth Breeze detergent thing.
We were just talking about that. I was telling Hannah that I'm obsessed with the Earth Breeze Eco Sheets. It looks like a dryer sheet, right? But it's like an ultra concentrated liquidless laundry detergent. So like it's the best of all worlds. Like it's tough on stains and odors while being kind to the planet and your skin. But it's like when you put it in your wash, it's not the liquid. Like it's not a pod.
So much
it's
nicer,
not a liquid.
easier.
Yeah, it like dissolves and it smells so good. And you guys know that I'm a little bit of a like skincare makeup junkie. And this is dermatologist tested, hypoallergenic, free of bleach, dyes, and parabens. And you can also get it in the fragrance-free option, but it smells so good.
I got fragrance free because my roommate has very sensitive skin and is very, very sensitive to different detergents. And so we usually don't use the same thing at all. Like he can't use anything I've used. He tried this. Thank you for trying it for the ad, for the sake of the ad. And we both use it. He loves it and it's totally fine on his skin.
Well, because they got rid of the unnecessary chemicals for a formula that is kind to sensitive skin, including for babies. And there's no more heavy lifting the massive plastic jug, right? It comes in like this, like an
not gonna
envelope
spill.
almost. Yeah, it's like a cardboard packaging and it's takes up a fraction of the space in your laundry room. It is really, really nice.
Also, less waste because it's dissolving.
If you're not using this, I think you should give it a try. So listen, I am not someone who's into gimmicks. You guys know that. I do not like gimmicks. This stuff is so good. It smells good. It's really, really cool. But if you decide to go back to your old stuff for any reason, they will give you a full refund on your Earth Breeze purchase, no questions asked, which I think is really cool. It kind of gives you peace of mind, but I'm telling you, you're going to freaking love it.
So right now, our listeners can receive 40% off Earth Breeze just by going to earthbreeze.com/TDD. That's EARTHBREEZE.com/TDD to cut out single-use plastic in your laundry room and claim 40% off your subscription. Earthbreeze.com/TDD. And as always, you can find that in the show notes.
So pretty standard nightclub activities. You're standing at the bar and you're giggling at his not funny jokes. Like, that's so funny. And so her and this other woman who I'm assuming, because I don't know for sure, but it doesn't take a rocket surgeon. This other woman who I'm assuming is also an escort. They're co-workers. Mm-hmm. And so they're with these guys who may or may not be patronizing an escort business, but I don't know for sure. But again, it doesn't take a rocket surgeon. Anywho.
Even if they're not, she's still cheating on her husband.
Yeah. So she's with this guy. There is kissing. I do videotape it. And I do have covert video, you guys. Like, this is not just me holding up like a big giant like TV studio camera. Like, there's covert videos. Like, there are video cameras that you do not realize are video cameras. Anyways, that's what we kind of use.
She's a little spy.
Yeah, it's not like, I'm not a spy. I'm a licensed private investigator, Hannah.
I'm sorry, but it's so fun to think of you with like cool glasses where you're like tapping them, and then all of a sudden, you know how in movies you get a screen that's like green text and it like analyzes
you do tap
them?
your glasses and the camera comes on. Like, it is like that. And
that's so cool.
So there's a light on the top right inside corner of the glasses, and if it's red, it's recording, and if it's blue, it's ready to take a picture, and if you tap it, it'll take a picture, and if you press and hold, it'll do a video, and it has the time and date, and then it has a USB spot where you just plug it into your camera and it'll upload it. There's pens, there's key fobs, hats, cameras, like glasses, all the things.
What is this, Warby Parker? Like, where can I get my hands on these?
Legit. So anyways, those really do exist. Like, those are actual real gadgets. They really do exist. Cool. It's really fun. Anyway, so I'm getting covert video of this, and her and the coworker and their male friends or male
clients?
may or may not be clients. They end up at the end of the night. It's like 2 a.m. and they go back to the hotel and they enter. I was not able to follow them into a hotel room, so I could never get the hotel room, but it doesn't take a rocket surgeon, right? So anyways, I do end up the next day connecting with my client, and we do meet face to face, and I tell him what has happened. And he already knew from the previous day based on what I told him, but he was so sad. Yeah, he was in tears. He was trying to hold back tears, and it
that's
was
even
really,
sadder.
Really awful. Yeah. So when I connected with him, we met in a public place because that's like, but I knew that he was out of town. Like, I knew based on his itinerary, like, he showed me all the things. So I knew that Friday when I told him about the nail salon, I knew that he was far enough away that by the time he got home, I knew that there was no
he couldn't
threat
come
of
after
danger
right away. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I was going to be on surveillance, so I wasn't worried about it. So I would never have told him had I thought that it could have, like, if I knew he was in town, I probably would have never said it. But anyways, so
imagine finding that out and then having to like go back into your conference. That's
right.
So sad.
And yeah. So I'm thinking, like, what is this guy really doing on the weekends? But again, not my business. Like, it's not my concern. Right. I verified that he worked for his company. I couldn't verify that they had a business thing, but it's none of my business. Like, there was no other red flag. So it was fine. Yeah. So he's in tears, and he basically thanked me for my surveillance. He paid me for the whole weekend. Like, I didn't bill him for the whole weekend. I just stopped billing him like the next day. Like, I billed him for that day and that Saturday morning, but then I didn't bill him after that. He went ahead and paid me for the whole weekend. And I said, you don't have to pay me. He goes, no, just take it. Just take it. I don't even want it. And so I never, ever, ever, ever found out why she is doing escort service why is she doing escorting if he is providing for her financially? Like, this guy, by well off, I mean, he probably makes a couple mil a year. Like, he is
She doesn't.
a professional.
Yeah. Okay. Let's think about this.
What, like, and that's it. Like, that's literally.
Do you have a theory initially?
So,
because I have a few.
Okay. So there are cases where people, and I know you guys have probably seen these stories where like people, even people with a lot of money, they steal. Like, what was that? Was it Winona Ryder? Ashley, what was her name? What was her name? I can't think of the celebrity that was stealing. Like, she's worth like $1 million. Like, she's worth millions of dollars.
Oh yeah. Shoplifting
and she was shoplifting. Yeah. And so I think it's one of those things where it's like, maybe you're bored. Maybe the fact that she doesn't have a job, like maybe she's bored. Maybe she just wanted, like, the guy is significantly older than her. And the guys, like the guys that were maybe possibly clients were much younger, more her age. And maybe she needed that kind of attention from, you know, a different type of men. I don't know, but that's what I'm thinking is boredom initially.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Well, because I've been thinking a lot about narcissism specifically, because it's a buzzword that goes around a lot and is maybe thrown around too much, I might be contributing to that. But one of the things that I've been hearing experts talk about is just that they're always looking for like the next best thing and the bigger and better thing. And that's where it kind of makes you understand some of the high power leaders in the world that are just constantly trying to do the next thing. And you're like, you've got enough. And it's like never enough.
Right.
And so her like wanting, but then I'm kind of like the escort side of it, that could just be cheating. Like that could just be her looking for affairs.
Yes, yes.
Did the money thing just come because it was easy to do and kind of fun? Maybe it makes her feel less emotionally attached. Maybe there are a lot of people, especially women, not always women, that want to feel more ownership over their situation if they are in a position where they're not the provider. And it's like, but just
that's
like,
true too. But like,
can't you just get your yoga certification? Like there's other jobs you can do part-time.
That's what I'm saying. Like you could like just start a candle business or something. Like why are we anything?
We're not saying that being a sex worker is a bad business decision. Obviously it depends on your circumstance.
But number one, it does leave you vulnerable. Number two, it is illegal, which also leaves you vulnerable. So it creates this vulnerability that I think people sometimes get.
They crave maybe.
They crave that, like the danger of it maybe.
Yeah.
And that's
the adrenaline.
The adrenaline, yes.
That makes sense. And that's the thing about when you're doing anything that you can't tell people about, which obviously she's kind of talking all willy-nilly in those salons. So she's not that secretive about it, but she can't necessarily tell her close friends and family. And that adds an element of just danger.
Do you know what's funny? Is that I just on my social media posted a story about another time when I had to go into a nail salon to do surveillance on the worker, and it had to do with the pedicure and it had to do with sex work.
What? What's going on? Are these a front? Maybe it was a front.
And so now I've literally just thought about the story that I just posted last week. You guys have to go listen to it. But now I'm wondering, now I'm thinking like, are all nail salons like a front for sex? I didn't even realize.
We cannot make that claim. But also that is very interesting. And also, I mean, even if it's not necessarily a front, it is a vulnerable place for women primarily to connect. And maybe it's not a bad spot for her to do some recruiting where she can just look around and be like, she looks like she might be into it.
Oh my God, that's such a good point. I wonder if that other lady like was an escort.
I feel like the other lady was, and she was kind of being like, "All right, don't talk about it so much." That's like you're put a lid on it.
Okay, like shut it down. Yeah.
Wow.
So cases like this, I think, are really interesting because, first of all I know is what I know. Like I can do more research, right? Like I could totally do more surveillance on her and be like, what's she doing the next night? But if you're not paying me, like I had to learn early on that I had to kind of give up the goose. Like when it comes to what I get paid to do, first of all, on a case, and just to be clear, like a lot of people are like, well, can't you just like search more and like see what you can find out? Yes, because I will lose sleep over it. Like when I don't have closure, I have OCD and ADHD and I cannot get thoughts out of my head.
Ugh, that's
So it
so
took me
hard.
2 or 3 years to really learn to like put cases to bed. But also, if I continue to do a surveillance, like there was one case I did recently that had to do with like a child and all of these, and people were like, can't you do more surveillance and like find out more to tell the judge or whatever? I can't, because then it's illegal activity. It's unlicensed
Then you're
activity.
stalking.
Then I'm stalking and it's a felony, and no, I cannot continue. So my hands are legally tied. But like,
well, what if you're like happen to be in the same club and like you're not allowed to do anything that could borderline those things? Like you could just be at the same place.
Yeah, but then I would have to call my client and say, hey, I just want to let you know, this is what I'm observing. Do you want to hire me to restart a surveillance? And then I have to.
Really?
Yeah. So like,
and
there's
then
been
if
a
they
ton
say no,
of
do you have
times.
to leave?
If they say no, I don't want you to continue, then I can't report anything they're doing. Like
right. But like you for your personal self can be in the vicinity and see things.
Yeah. Like I can see things. I just can't legally report it.
Yeah. Yeah, I got you.
So
Can
it
you tell
becomes
me?
off the air. But that's what makes it really hard, is that like sometimes you guys, I do not get closure. I cannot tell you how many cases I have turned in that I have no closure. And that's why some people get so mad when I tell these stories. They're like, but what happened? You got to tell us the end. And I'm like, there is no end.
You have
this
to
is
be
all
uncomfortable
I know.
with us.
You got to be uncomfortable with me.
It is fun to like dissect it, especially since we can learn from so many of these stories. You're seeing people when they don't think they're being watched.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when our true colors come out in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I just Googled it because I'm like, why do people do sex work if they don't need the money? And I feel like that's
what does it say?
I don't want to deny that some people, it's a job. You might love it and enjoy it.
It's the oldest profession existing.
Yeah, go off. But it's kind of, it does seem like one of those jobs that's like, okay, would we do anything if we didn't need the money? It's like, some of us would. Some of us are passionate. I would do this with you. I like our job. But yeah, so most of it is like lack of options. It's also a really clear agreement. Like you are not going on a date with someone that you're having an affair with where you have to worry about them telling on you. Oh, that's another great point. If she is doing it in a way that is transactional, she doesn't have to worry about the emotions of an affair, about somebody she's having an affair with potentially telling her husband.
So true. That's a good point.
This person is not going to tell because they don't want people to know. And also
people to know that
they don't care if she's married or not. Interesting.
There's so many reasons. I just wish I knew, like, if you had that much disposable income, but you're still doing this, it's almost like, I don't know. It's almost like she needed, I don't know. Maybe she did need that escape, or she did need something like that to, I don't know.
Do you feel we've had I forget who it was. Someone sent us a really lovely message. And if you have like a criticism or question and you say it really nicely with respect, we love that. We love discussion. If you're mean to us, go away. This person made a great point where they were like, it does seem like sometimes you guys are more forgiving to women than men. Men, it's easy for us to be like, you suck. And women were like, well, maybe she cheated because XYZ, which I think was a great thing to point out. And I think we know that. And I think, like I've said, I jokingly say all the time, I'm like, I support women's rights and women's wrongs. It's like, yeah, I do have a little bit of a bias.
It's true. But you gotta also, well, that's it. First of all, I want whoever sent that question or that response, thank you so much, because it is true. And when we do something like that seems biased toward women or whatever, we do, like, we appreciate you calling that out. And it's a really good point. And you're absolutely right. But I
don't even call them call outs anymore. I call them call ins. Have you heard that?
Listen, I like that.
Isn't that nice? Because it's like, you're not being like, you're bad. You're being like, let's come into this discussion.
Keep us honest and keep us humble, because we appreciate that. And your feedback, like, you are the reason that we're here. So we want to hear these things from you. And when you say it respectfully and with kindness, like, listen, 100%, please. But no, I think that's a really good point. But
sometimes I'm okay with my bias in that regard, because I do want to give people who are like marginalized a little bit of a benefit of the doubt, and like women historically are.
But also we are women, so that's who we relate to the most. So I feel like that's probably why. But no, you're absolutely right. It is true that men and women who do the same thing, like it's totally equal. Like it's the exact same thing.
It's still bad.
It's still bad.
But there's different, I do think there can be, it's worth analyzing the difference in the motivations for all people that come from different experiences, because people can do the same thing for very different reasons.
That is a really good point, though. It's just, I think it's because we know that it's more emotionally driven with women.
And you have more to lose in a lot of cases, especially historically. It's like if you weren't able to survive without your husband, then you're not going to cheat unless you really have a reason. Whereas men were like, they can do whatever they want. Obviously, it's improved now, but we're still got a ways to go.
No, but it's true. But that's a really good point. And I really, you guys, when you have thoughts like that, we please, by all means,
sweet.
Yeah, you don't have to agree with us on everything. We appreciate the adversity. We appreciate the adult conversations. And when you point stuff like that out to us, it is well received. So thank you.
I brought it up. I'm just curious if you like notice that in this case for yourself or your response, like feeling differently about it because it's a woman that's working as a sex worker and cheating on her husband versus if it were a man.
Here's my take on it, right? I feel like because of my knowledge and experience with the cheating cases, more women cheat I catch more women cheating than I do men cheating. When it comes to when a wife says, I think my husband is cheating, many times that's her insecurity. When a man says it, hey, I think my wife is cheating, it's generally because he already kind of knows. And sometimes women really know too. Like, if you're coming to me, it's because but a lot of times it's insecurity.
I feel like women might not need to come to you because
they can do their own research.
Men aren't very good at it. And also women can figure it out. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think it's just different in the way that we process that stuff. So, but that's a really, really good, like, I would like to hear from other private investigators in their cases and hear, like, if you're a private investigator and you do surveillance on domestic cases, which involves infidelity and adultery, do you have more women than men who cheat? And I would like to hear from our listeners who are not private investigators, who have hired a PI, perhaps thought about it. Are you a man? Are you a woman? Have you cheated? No, but it's
we do want to know.
Have you cheated? Has your spouse suspected you of cheating? Have you ever got to the point where you'd hire a PI? And are you a man or a woman? And granted, we have a lot more women that listen to our show, but I would like to pose the question to men.
I agree. Also, I think there's a difference between having an affair and like cheating and then breaking up with somebody.
Yeah.
Like there's like
sleeping with someone one time and then there's having a full on like emotional affair. Like there's different levels. But some people would be like, well, she just cheated with him and they just slept together one time. So it doesn't bother me. But when they have a full on emotional affair, even if there's not sex involved and it's just emotional, sometimes that's even worse. So it just depends on the person, how they receive that, how they perceive it.
Yeah, I think it's important. And John and I did this, and I think couples should do this at like the beginning of our relationship when we were like, okay, we know this is legit. We literally made a list of what different levels of cheating, and we defined cheating tiers. Okay, so we had 100% cheating, not cool, but blurry lines, not great, but if it happened, it's fine. And then not cheating, but it's just a bad look. And we like defined what all of these things were for us, and it can be different for every couple. Like I would put secretly being an escort as 100% cheating. that would fall into that category for me.
Yeah, I think so too.
But like an example of not cool but blurry lines would be like liking or engaging on someone's like thirst trap or solo picture of their desired sex.
Oh, okay.
Like if there's a girl that we're friends with and she posts a really like sexy picture and he comments fire emojis, I'd be like,
not okay with this.
Right. But it's not necessarily cheating in my book. But some people, that could be cheating.
Yes.
But I made that very clear. And we have it right here. And I'm looking at it right now. This is so fun. But then not great, but if it happens, it's fine, is like flirting a little. Because do I flirt with baristas? Yes, I do. Sorry. And I'm not going to stop because it's fun.
So funny. I love it.
Anyway, there's a lot. Also, the men-woman difference thing. I worry about her. I worry about her more than I worry about a dude who's in sex work. And dudes or people I worry about women more than I worry about cis men. I just do. There's like more violence against them. So when I hear this story, I have like an element of like fear attached to her that I might not initially have if it was big, strong man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I totally get that. You're absolutely right.
Hey, well, I hope
Interesting.
that she came clean. Let's, for our sake, hope that they talked about it and maybe got a divorce, because I don't think he should be with someone who's doing that.
I don't know. I would personally love to hear from, like, if you've ever been involved in sex work, for the record, again, I know we've said this before, we are not dissing on sex work. Like, if that's what you do, boo,
Sex work is
get
work.
that bag. Like, do you? We don't care what you do in you're a grown ass adult, right? But if
Just
you
share
have
your location with your friends.
If you,
Please,
well,
God.
no, I want to hear from you. Like, if this is something that you've experienced or something you've been a part of, can you tell us why or how you got into it? Like, we'll totally anonymize you. You don't have to tell us who you are. We can change your voice, whatever. I would love to know more about like how you got into it and what made you participate, or what was it that you gravitated toward? I would like to hear more about it. And this is to be even more clear, this is a safe place where you can share those things and you will be supported no matter what part you take in it. Like, there's no judgment here. Like, we just want to hear your story. Like,
also, if there are any relationships with somebody that works in sex work or
yeah,
porn industry, or like open relationships.
Oh,
that
the
involve
porn
sex
industry.
Work.
Yeah, that's a lot too. Like, could you imagine?
Because your communication must be on another level. If
You
we could all
have
learn
to
a
have
thing or
good
two.
communication if that's what you're doing. And like even strippers, like dancers, like if you're going to the strip club and they make really good money, just like, shaking their sexy bodies. Like, good for you. Like, I would have done stripping in college if I had the body. I swear to it. I really would. Hey, that's good money.
Girl, she tried to recruit you. That's a compliment. That's a compliment. Take the win.
Could have been an escort. I ruined my life.
We would have had a very different podcast.
It would have been much different, I'll admit.
But thank you for that. I loved it. I want all of the responses, and you guys should send them to us. Comment on our socials at Dating Detectives Podcast, or DM us, or email us. Investigate at thedatingdetectivespodcast.com.
Yeah.
Wow, that was my NPR voice.
Good for you.
And
no, but
our Patreon
we want to hear from you. We want to hear everything about your stories. There is no judgment here. You can totally be anonymous. If you go on the Google machine and you can create a new Gmail account so that it's not tied to you, so that if you want to email us but you don't want to use your own email, just create a new one. You can be anonymous.
Your first name could be Anne and your last name could be Anonymous. Dad joke of the day.
And then we'll know. Oh my gosh, that's so cute.
I like that.
But it's true.
Also, leave us reviews, 5 stars and stuff.
Please. Positive reviews are great. Your 5 stars are great. Like, it really helps the podcast to grow. So thank you. Every time you guys do that, it really helps us. So thank you.
Anything else, Mackenzie? Or is that our Monday Undercover? Mackenzie Undercover.
That's our Mackenzie Undercover Monday. But thank you guys so much for listening. And I'm dying to know your thoughts on this story. And I'm curious to know if anybody can relate to this. Like, is this like a one-off, or is this happening more often than we think? Like,
have you ever been
curious.
Has anyone ever tried to recruit you in a nail salon? That story I want. Yeah, I'm a little offended that no one's ever tried for me, but also not surprised. The general energy I give off is definitely not escort energy. I give off camp counselor energy. I don't think that's what people want.
I love it. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy your Monday, and as always, trust your femtuition.
Bye. Love you.